Welcome back to the Question Table, a podcast of the Way Home Ministries. I am your host, Sylvia Geronimo. Have you ever been somewhere? Maybe it was a quiet forest, a bustling city street, a cathedral, or even in the middle of your own backyard, and something so beautiful made you literally catch your breath. That sudden pause in your chest, a moment when the world stops and awe takes over. Beauty, they say, is in the eye of the beholder. But I want to suggest today that there's something a little bit deeper. Beauty isn't just out there waiting to be observed. It's also about perspective. It's about the way we posture ourselves towards the world and the lens through which we see life. Think about this. Children are born with wonder at the center of their being. They notice the colors of the sky and the sparkle in a raindrop, the pattern on a leaf. But as we grow, the world has a way of training and sometimes even traumatizing that sense of awe right out of us. Because then life gets gray and routine dulls the senses and our minds focus on the urgent and the practical, and we enter into survival mode. I remember some time ago, someone asked me a question that completely threw me. They said, "Have you experienced the beauty of God lately?" I didn't understand that. God as beautiful? I knew God as holy and as powerful and as just, but beautiful? At that time, this was foreign to me. I wasn't postured to see it, and I wasn't expecting it, and honestly, I wasn't even looking for it. But thankfully, now I am. And I'll tell you that when I do encounter the beauty of God in creation, in that specific moment of grace, in human kindness, and especially just in the thought of who God is, that kind of beauty, it brings me to tears and stops me in my tracks. How about you? This makes me think of a psychological phenomenon that has to do with noticing and perception. You've probably experienced it in everyday life. Maybe you decided one day that you wanted to buy a red car, and suddenly it feels like every car on the highway is red. Now, neuroscience calls this the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, or the frequency illusion. And here's what's happening. Your brain's filter has shifted. Once your prefrontal cortex tags something as important, like the red car, your attention starts selectively filtering the world. You notice what you've told your brain to notice. What you have told your brain matters to you. And then confirmation bias kicks in. You see evidence everywhere that supports this new focus while ignoring everything else. Now, amazingly, spiritually, it's the same thing. What we fix our hearts on shapes what we see. When we pay attention to what truly matters, things like love and kindness, beauty, grace, suddenly these things appear in our lives. Not because the world changed, but because we have become awakened to notice them. Your attention is a spotlight. Where you shine it, the world reflects back. So that beauty that makes you catch your breath, it works the same way. When you train your mind and your heart and your senses and your soul to notice it, to notice beauty, the world suddenly seems luminous and beautiful. But how do we do that intentionally? How do we posture ourselves to see the awe and wonder that surrounds us, even in our ordinary moments? Scripture says in Psalm 19, verse 1, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the skies proclaim the work of his hands." In Psalm 27, verse 4, the psalmist says, "One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. And in the New Testament, Romans chapter 1, verse 20 says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." The psalmist looked at the skies and the mountains and the seas, and his heart caught the wonder. Moses asked to see God's glory and was struck with awe. The invitation is the same for us, to posture our hearts so we see God's beauty, to notice that our world often teaches us to overlook. To dwell in the house of the Lord and in his presence brings beauty into our lives. So, friends, with this question, I would like to invite you to take 3 steps starting this week, starting today. Take step 1. Practice the pause. Take intentional moments to stop, to breathe, and to just look around. Notice something you normally overlook. Maybe it's the way that today the sunlight hits a tree, the curve of a child's smile, the rhythm of rain on your window. Just notice something that you normally overlook. And these small pauses train your brain to spot beauty that was always there, but was invisible because you never noticed. So practice the pause is step 1. Step 2 is to curate your attention. Decide what matters. Decide that beauty matters, and kindness and gratitude, God's presence in the world matters. Write it down and repeat it to yourself. Your brain will start filtering life through this lens. Like the red car on the highway, suddenly signs of what you value start appearing everywhere, and it will bring you so much delight. So that's step 2. Curate your attention. Step 3 is to reflect and share. Take a few moments at the end of the day to reflect on what moved you, what made you catch that breath, what stirred awe in your heart. And better yet, share it with someone else. Because you see, talking about beauty strengthens your awareness of it, and it multiplies its impact. So I want to ask you again, where have you been that beauty made you catch your breath? And more importantly, how can you start positioning yourself this week to notice the beauty that's always around you, waiting for your attention? Remember that nothing has multiplied on the outside, only your attention has been shifted. The gray world becomes colorful all of a sudden, not because the world has changed, but because your heart has been awakened. Beauty is not just what you see, it's what you notice. And awe and wonder and gratitude are always waiting at the edge of your perception, ready to catch your breath. So this week, I invite you to pause, tune your attention and open your heart. Notice beauty. Let yourself be caught by it. And so, until next time, see how it changes the way you see everything.